Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this important segment of the service. And today, we'll be having this conversation on health and wellness. I know you understand how important this is to everybody's life. And my name is Jumoke Ojeleye. Joining me in this conversation today are seasoned professionals who are going to do justice to this discussion. And from my far right, I have...
I'm Dr. Odia, as you all know, a general practitioner and been practicing for the past 20 years, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, my name is Dr. Adifemi Haddie. I'm a consultant psychiatrist and also held the sleep disorders units of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, Lagos. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Haddie, for joining us. And
I am Ijoma Ugu. I am a nutritionist, but I am most passionate about people living with neurological impairments.
Thank you, Ijoma, for joining us this morning. All right, so for to start the segment, there's this important question, quite simple, that I want to throw around. And you just give based on your own professional practice and perspective. I want you to answer this question. So what is healthy living? I'll start with you, Dr. Odia. What is healthy living? What do people think healthy living is to them or should be to them?
Okay, if I would look at it from every aspect. For me, I believe that healthy living comprises of every aspect of our lives. Okay. It's composed of your body, mind, and spirit all together being a healthy being. So if you are completely hale and healthy and you are fine, body, soul, spirit, and mind, I would consider that person living healthy. And I'm sure the nutritionist will shed more light when it comes to the healthy living with regards to what we put in our mouth and how we keep ourselves very healthy. But generally speaking, what healthy living should be for an individual is for you being healthy, body, spirit, soul, and mind.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Dr. Haddie, let's hear from you.
Yes, well, the World Health Organization defined health as not just the absence of illness, but the complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being.
Wow.
That is, for us to look at healthy living, you have to be healthy, and that's three aspects which act like tripod where healthy living stands on must be intact: your physical health, your social health, and the mental health. Of course, I'm coming from the aspect of the mental health today, and I'll be hoping to be able to shed more light on that aspect later on.
Thank you, Dr. Adeoye. And IJ, can we hear from you?
Well, healthy living for me is a lifestyle of deciding to take choices that make you happy, that keep you in a good state of mind, in a good state of physical condition, and in a good state of psychological condition and a social condition. So healthy living for me is taking that choice that makes me comfortable in all that I do. The way it will affect my mind, the way it will affect my body, and the way it will affect my relationship with people around me.
Wow, that's so profound, Ijoma. And I think I want to start the next set of questions with you again. So I like the word you have used, choices.
Yeah.
Choices, very, very important. And so I take this question is about, they said the food you eat can be the safest, choice, medicine that you might take, or the fastest poison that you can take into your body.
Yes.
How important is this statement, especially in the light of COVID and how it is affecting people and the choices they make? What do you think about this?
In addition to your saying, I would say also that you are what you eat.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, with reference to COVID-19 pandemic, I would say that it is not just the choices you start making today.
Wow.
But even at that, the best day to plant a tree is now. The best day was 10 years ago, but the second best day is now. So if you have been living your life not making these choices, then today is also a day you can start making those choices. Yeah. So from my own perspective, I would say that people should learn to choose things that are coming more from the nature. Nature has made it such that it provides us with everything we need in terms of food. I was just discussing with my husband yesterday. I said, God is so intelligent that this season, most of the fruits in season are the fatty fruits, the avocado, the pear. Why? Because the rainy season is the planting season, when most of the carbohydrate foods are out of season. So they are being planted. So it is usually a famine period. So this period, he now made it that the fruits in season are the fatty fruits, so that the energy you derive from carbohydrates, which is now reduced, you now get that energy back from the fatty fruits. Awesome. So which is available. So these are the choices we make. And now science is now telling us again that we have to expand our choices, because each fruit you see has a color, and these colors are phytochemicals. And each phytochemical is put there to perform a certain function. Normally, they are put in the plant to provide protection, immunity, anti-cancer, anti-inflammation, a lot of things. And science has told us that those functions can also be done in humans when you consume them. So in choices, when I talk about choices, I say as far as food goes, expand your choices. Apart from the nutrients, you are also expanding your microbiome.
Oh, thank you very much, Ijoma, for that response. And I'm sure that our viewers have learned a lot from that. So I'm coming to you, Dr. Adeoye, now. So when you were telling us about the definition of health by the WHO, World Health Organization, that it's actually the spirit, the soul, the physical, the mental, the social, emotional, and all this put together forms healthy living. Now, I know people are trying to stay healthy. People, even their mindset, they are telling themselves, I'll do all I can to stay calm, to stay safe, to stay healthy generally. What do you say to that person who has had an incident, that has lost a loved one, that has lost a job? Or, for instance, if the job that was lost was even from the breadwinner of the family, you know, these are situations that are way beyond, you know, it takes a whole lot. Even as a Christian, it's a whole lot of effort to put yourself together in one piece when this happens to you. So a lot of people have lost stuff in this period, and they are managing grief. Even some of them don't even know that this is the effect of this on them. Please, can you talk to our viewers at home how they can manage themselves in this season with that?
Well, thank you. That's an important question, especially considering what we're all going through now. The first thing I would like to say is that such individuals should realize that, yes, what they are going through is real, and it is important to identify the fact that we go through stressful situations, we go through pains and all that. But more importantly, when we go through such situations, we should utilize the resources available to us. You belong to a family before you belong to the society. What in the family can you utilize? Who can you talk to? Who can give you direction? How to solve things? Take some responsibility, take care of your children, or take care of certain things that you are unable to do at that particular point in time. And then, of course, we also, as Christians, your church network. People in your church can help in terms of counseling. And what we need varies. Some people need a shoulder to lean on, while some people just need people just to be there for them, not necessarily saying so much. So I'm also need to tell people, when we try to counsel people, we should not just use one straight method for everybody. Because some people like to be told that, oh, it's well, it's this and all that, while some just need you to be there or encourage them to move out. So, and then when you now notice that the problem is weighing you down in terms of your health, maybe you're unable to sleep, seek professional help early. You have maybe the financial difficulty, talk to people who can lead you to where you can solve those such problems. So try to identify exactly what is troubling your mind and look at resources available around you in order to solve such challenges.
Thank you, Dr. Adeoye. So from what you have said, people need to first of all be able to identify what is around them, the resources available, and of course, they should reach out to their network.
Yes.
So community is huge. So Dr. Adeoye, I'm coming to you now. And this is what I see concerning, so in the last few months, we've had people who maybe at one time or the other, they go for wellness check, health check, just to be sure of their health status. But in the last few months, health institutions have literally been running skeletal services. And, you know, appointments have been spaced out. Most of these institutions are not even attending to people, except it's an emergency, as it were. And of course, how am I supposed to know what is an emergency? You know, how am I supposed to know? So I want you to talk to our viewers out there that how do you manage your health? You know, given the reality that is going on around us. You know you are supposed to go maybe like every month to do something, but you are not able to do that now. And probably they are not even as informed as they should. Or even talk to those again who don't even know that they have a condition, but they just want to carry on life as usual. Is there anything they should know about?
It's an interesting situation we're in currently, and it's not something that I believe will not pass. It will pass, just like everything else in this world and in this life. So I would want to, first of all, strongly advise that in the midst of situations that you do not have control over, the best thing to do first, I will borrow the IT term here now, let faith override your fear. It's so important that the first thing that should kick in as a Christian is for you to realize quickly that God is not far away from you. And God, who is the healer and who is our succor at all times, should be the first one you should lean on. If we were not leaning on him before, this is the best time to quickly do that now and align appropriately.
I agree.
And once you do that, you find out that a whole lot of things would be behind you. And now, in reality, yes, there are people that have been having health concerns before now, and some might even develop it while they're at home currently. Just like Dr. Adeoye has said, it's very important that we do not take lightly the people around us and the community that we have that we can lean on. Call one person. There must be somebody you have their number, even if the person is not a health personnel. But call someone who might be able to link you with the health personnel. And you'll be surprised how much information you can get, how much advice you can get online or on a call that someone will be willing to speak with you on the other end and advise you on how best to manage whatever issues you might have been managing before the lockdown or even before the pandemic. And if if it's someone that is newly diagnosed or for whatever condition you notice something new, call somebody. Someone will be able to link you and give the best advice that you never thought you would get. During this lockdown alone, I was sharing with Mrs. IJ earlier on about the fact that just during this pandemic, I imagine how many people have had to cancel on calls, just a phone call. And it has changed the perspective and changed the outcome of that person. Quite a number of people. So first of all, we know that, yes, you were seeing a doctor regularly before and you had a regular schedule that you were working with. But see, there's a God that doesn't have a schedule. He's on call all times. So lean on that fact and know that if you lean on God first, all other things would fall into place. So that's what I would advise.
All right, thank you very much. So, Dr. Adeoye, for that response. So from what we all have said, I think it's very important that we do not take our community for granted. So you have a community, starting from where you live, the people living with you, the people in your compound, your church community, your work colleagues and all that, you don't take anyone for granted because you never know who you would need or who would be your first point of call.
Yeah.
So now I'm going on a second round of questions, and this is actually very interesting. So I would start with you, IJ, again. How do we manage? I want you to talk to the individuals out there, families precisely.
Yeah.
How do we manage the family nutrition in view of dwindling resources, crazy work schedules, and you know, the number of people in your household, for instance?
Yeah.
You know, because I had this neighbor, and when I just, you know, of course, we've been having physical distancing. So the first time I stepped into her house to just say, hello, how are you doing? This is a family of 5. And I realized there were 9 in the house.
Wow.
So she said, so and so person got locked down. And so you that used to feed 5 persons before now have to start feeding 9 people. And most of them were adults.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So
It's
how
a
do you manage the family nutrition? And we know we're talking about health and wellness.
Yes.
And again, we're back to choices.
Yeah.
So please educate us on that.
Family nutrition is very vital, but our kind of society makes it difficult for parents to give their children what they need in the midst of demands. So in a time like this, first, the woman, in order to reduce stress on yourself, you have to draw a plan. Draw a plan and make extra provision for the growing children because they need the nutrition more. They need it to grow, they need it to develop. So what you do, the same scenario you presented, I am actually feeding 10 people in my house.
Wow.
And I have 3 children. So what you do is that you make extra provision for the growing ones. You cannot pay back a compromised nutrition. So what you do is draw a plan. This is a plan that reduces the stress in the first place so that every morning they know this is what we are cooking this morning. And this is going into the children's plate. I am not being wicked. This and this is going into the children's plate, and this is going into the adult's plate. So the children are given the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Because the society is such that, why should you give your children different? No. In this case, this is not being wicked. You have to make sure that you apportion nutrition based on need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is one. Another one, in order to make it easier, I was just discussing with her, I have a farm in my house. But if you do not have farm, there are ways you can use your flower pot to grow vegetables.
Oh.
You can use, before we got to where we had farm, I was using a cement bag. I would actually cut a cement bag into 2 and pour sand, and I could grow vegetables.
Wow.
I could grow, even in my flower, the place I was living before had a flower space. I wasn't growing flower there, I was growing vegetable there. And it looks still beautiful. So these are things we do. You know, flower, yes, they make it fine, but are you looking at beauty when you are not fed yet?
You're not fed,
Yeah. And I don't
Very
think
true.
anybody will feel less beautiful seeing ugu in my
vegetation.
flower bed instead of
agree.
a flower.
Wow.
So these are things we should do
That's
to
true.
improve nutrition in our homes.
this
Everything mustn't be bought.
Yeah. True.
Things like, vegetables, even if it's just potato you put in pot and you cut a bunch of vegetables, it's already a huge diet.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's already wonderful.
Wow.
So people should look more within than outside. Think more of home, think more, like I said before, go back to nature. Embrace nature more than ever, because nature has everything,
That's we need.
has given you everything you need.
Thank you very much. So if you are just joining us, we've been having a conversation on health and wellness. And joining me in this conversation are seasoned professionals who have been teaching us, who have been educating us based on their professional practice and experiences. And so now I'll come to you, Dr. Adeoye, again. So we have never seen times like this before, right? But of course, we are Christians, and we've been hearing so much, especially from the Word of God, in terms of how to manage our stress. But can you talk to us practically? how people can manage their stress in this period. You know, how to navigate this season. You know, there's a news about this, there's a call about this, there's a shift in work schedules, and you know, and you still want to stay sane, you want to stay productive. In fact, if you have a job at this time, you still need to be very thankful. So how do people manage all of these emotions together and still stay sane, productive, and on top of their work?
Thank you again for the question. We all need some bit of stress to drive our ambitions in life.
Wow.
So there is a healthy stress and unhealthy stress.
Okay.
So what we are trying to control is unhealthy level
stress.
of stress. So we need to, first thing is identifying who you are and organizing yourself. Is it, especially in this situation we are in now, people get stressed because of socio-economic reasons, and also because they have to keep social distance or physical distance, you know, and all that. So relationship can be affected, and then people spend a lot of hours on online meetings and all that. So we need to identify who we are, what we want to achieve, and what we really need rather than what we just want.
Sorry, let me just quickly pause you, Dr. Adeoye. So you've been talking about identifying who you are. I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so what that means is that we are different people. God created a variety of individuals so that we can complement each other and be able to achieve more. Some have certain strengths in certain areas, while if you try to copy that, you are going to break down. Yes. Yeah. So, and then the truth is that we run different races, so we should not just be looking at, oh, he has achieved this and more. So you need to identify who you are and where you are going to.
All right.
And especially as Christian, we need to use the word of God to guide us. So talking specifically about managing stress, I think that's the first thing for us to do. And then we then need to know what is the source of stress. Is it because we are not having enough money in our pockets, or a relationship that is causing us stress? Wow. Once we identify that, we then need to look at how to deal with that particular stress.
Okay.
So there are different ways of approaches generally, but let's look at the stress of COVID-19. You need to wear your mask all the time, keep distance from people, and the news of the number of fatalities or deaths per day and the number of people affected and all those things. If you realize that that is affecting you, you need to stay away from such, you know. So identify where the stress is coming from. If you can avoid it, stay away from that. And then get more positive things. During this lockdown, there are a lot of people that have achieved a lot.
True, very true.
And so look at, okay, what can I do? Always think about solutions rather than focusing on the problem. The problem is there for us to solve.
Wow.
If we can't solve it ourselves, look at people around you that can help you solve them or surmount them. And then always know that you don't have to solve the whole problem of the world. Some people might be the one to solve it, while you just identify it and refer people to the correct place to, you know. So families might be asking you for money, help, and all that. Know people you can help and help them. The people you can't help, try and direct them appropriately, you know. So there are a lot of ways we can, but of course that we can take a whole day to discuss.
Yeah, I know. I know, because there are diverse stresses and there are types of stresses like you mentioned. So thank you very much for that. So Dr. Odia, I have this question for you. Everything changed around us, and we're having to live with the situation and making the best of what we have as of now. All right, so I want you to look at this from this perspective, that we have how do people manage their lifestyle? So this is lifestyle management now. Managing their lifestyle, given the things that have changed entirely around them.
Yeah.
So this is beyond food now. This is beyond physical distancing or guidelines and all of that. Just generally managing your lifestyle, because the season has brought us some positives and negatives.
Yeah.
But of course, we are looking at a situation where we can maximize the positive gains that this season has brought upon us.
Yeah.
So how do you want to educate us to manage our lifestyle so we can maximize the gains of this season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you asked that question, because it seems in the mind of quite a number of people, they feel that there's more negative than there are positive.
Okay.
Obviously, because there's a pandemic. So the tendency for us as human beings to think, oh, in a pandemic, nothing good can come out of it. Oh, but there's a lot of good that can come out of it. Yeah. Quite a number. If you start, for instance, looking at when you say managing your lifestyle, if you look at the way we used to live before, we used to come to church. We were always here. I can tell you for free, some people probably had a church budget, as it were. Oh, but there's no church budget now, because you are at home.
Like commuting to church.
Yes, commuting to church, having to get the outfits for church, having to buy those things.
Yeah.
Things that on a good day, you would have, some people actually have budget for that.
True.
So now you can channel the budget into investments. You can start to remodel your life in such a way that opportunities you did not even know existed before, you start to open your mind to it. Because you now have probably those that still have funds that were being channeled in a different direction. You can now put all those funds together and ask those that you know around you who are investment people. Let them advise you. What do you think? How do you think I should manage this now? Because I have had to change my mindset. I've had to change my way of thinking, and a lot of things I need to readjust to. All the shoes we had, some of them we have to sell. We aren't going anywhere. There's no Owambe.
All right, yeah,
So
true.
certain things have also changed in that area. And the same thing too, even at work. Some of us do now more flexible work hours, or not even at all. We have outfits that might not even size us anymore. So you can now arrange them and even give them away. You've always been saying you wanted to give things to the motherless home or to some.
So this
You
is the
can now
time.
do it. Or certain things that you never thought you were in a position to do that could change the way you are and change and impact other people around you or even your community. You can now do it. The time that you said you never had to help out in your environment, when you did come out every Saturdays to clean because you are so tired, you've had a long work week, you can now do it.
Wow.
You can attend different meetings in your environment where they do the environmental meetings and contribute. They can now get value for you being in that area. Think about the fact that you can now impact your immediate environment. At the same time, you are impacting yourself.
Okay.
So there are so many things that have changed, but look at it on the positive.
Okay.
They can only be positive that will come out for children of God.
Yeah.
Know that as a child of God, His plans for us can only be good.
Yeah.
Not for evil.
And we must be able to see that.
And it will take us to that point where we're supposed to get to. So as long as we hold on to that, we will get to where we're meant to get to.
I mean, we could go on and on and on and on talking about this.
Yeah.
So, but what I have personally gained from this conversation is that there's still a lot of good that can come out of this season.
Oh, yes.
And we can maximize our health because we need our bodies. Because if you don't have our bodies, you cannot do all of the things that you want to do in life, that God has asked you to do in life. So your bodies are very important. So I'll go back to my panelists now, and I want you to share your last words, your closing words to our viewers at home. So I'll start from you, Dr. Odia. Your closing words.
It's very simple for me. I feel that we should look at this whole situation ultimately as another growth towards direction that God is leading us to. He's taking us somewhere. See it as a growth. See it as a movement in that right direction, the direction where He wants us to go to. There's a way God gets people's attention, in my perspective. He's just gotten our attention. There's a pause. This is a pause. He's trying to get our attention for the next thing that is coming.
Yeah.
So I really, really feel that more people should see it that way. Once we get that into our spirit and our minds, we will be able to approach the situation in a different way. And then we will get to where we're meant to get to. That would
Thank
be
you,
my
Dr.
last
Odia.
words. Yeah.
Dr. Haddie.
Thank you. Well, our health is very important, and we should nurture it by way of what we take in with every aspect in terms of physically what we eat, what we consume into our mind, and we also need to mind, apart from what we eat and all that, we should emphasize sleep. Good sleep is very important. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is not bad, and it helps our immunity and helps us get better. And of course, we should utilize resources around us, socialize, not, they're saying social distance, but they don't mean that you shouldn't talk to people, but they're just saying physical distance to prevent.
Not social.
Yes, so
physical distance.
we need the social support at this time, and it's very important we connect with that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haddie.
I would say, make your choices that would encourage a healthy mind and a healthy body and a healthy social interaction.
Very true.
Be sure to be comfortable with what you're doing. Do away with pressure, peer pressure, stigmatization, what will other people think. Do the things that you feel comfortable with. Be comfortable in your own clothing. Just relax. It's not a competition. And you will see we will all sail through this in peace of mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all our panelists again. So my own last closing words will be, the Bible has admonished us in the book of Proverbs 2 verse 2 that we should tune our ears to wisdom and we should also have understanding. So it is very important that we take to heart what our panelists have shared with us today and ensure that you are comfortable in your own body. Your body is an amazing thing. Take care of it. Be a priority in your own life and we would all be fine. Till we come your way again next time, stay blessed.